Hi, this is Dr. Tom Rogers at Performance Medicine, coming to you with a weekly podcast of the Common Sense MD. Common sense, which is usually uncommon. But today I have a special guest, Zach Guza, and it's interesting how I met Zach. You know, we have our new office in Knoxville at a new location, and right beside our office is this cool-looking gym. And we looked in the window one day and saw all these patients coming in there with Parkinson's disease, which is something we see a lot of. And Zach trains Parkinson's patients, and his results are amazing. I went in there and watched him one day, and it's just incredible how he works with them. He actually works with them with boxing. But anyway, so I want to get into this a little bit. You know, you're doing amazing work, and I want you to, first of all, tell me your story a little bit, Zach.
Okay. Well, you know, it was a dark night. No. I was in the military for a while. I went to the Air Force Academy and got out, and I was in the military in the Air Force flying helicopters, and got out of the military and went into civilian world, just typical corporate civilian world, and hated it. And actually I'd always kind of been dark and twisted, but I got worse and worse and worse with that because I got busy. We started a family, and I wasn't exercising at all, and I became pretty bad and suicidal. I mean, very deep depression, and really, really bad. And when I finally just broke down and went and got some help, some professional help, the first thing my psychiatrist said was, "Are you exercising?" And no, I got too much to do. I'm too busy. I got 2 kids at home. I got a big job. I can't do all that. She said, "You got to start." Before she would give me any kind of medication, she said, "You have to start exercising." So I started doing P90X at 5 o'clock in the morning in my garage.
With Tony Horton.
Yep. He's the man. And it made such an enormous difference. Well more than the medication. And I'm not saying you don't need medication. I do take it. But it made such a huge difference in just everything about me that when I had the opportunity, I became a personal trainer so I could help other people learn how good that feels. And it's your daily therapy. It's what you can do to help yourself on a regular basis. It's one of the few things you do just for yourself. When you go work out, all you're thinking about is you. You're not thinking about the family or the job. You're thinking about you. And that's rare. That's really rare.
Very rare.
So I got into Black Dog Fitness because of that. And all along the way, somewhere along the way, I learned about Rocksteady Boxing. And my dad had Parkinson's. He actually died due to Parkinson's in 2016. And when I learned about that and saw what an incredible difference, there was just no question. I'm in. Yeah, I mean, before even, so it was a CBS Sunday Morning article by Leslie Stahl, because her husband has Parkinson's. And before it was even over, I was on the Rocksteady Boxing website signing up. And it really, since then, it's been a passion. It's been what I love to do because it's so incredibly visual and important of what happens, of what we do. And it's fun. It's an honor.
That is an incredible story. I didn't know the whole story, but that is phenomenal. And kudos to that psychiatrist who had the foresight to say that to you. I've often told my patients when they come in, you can't be a family doc without seeing anxiety and depression every day. 100%. Probably half of what walks in your office is ultimately caused by anxiety or depression. And the first thing I say is, are you exercising? Because there's no pill out or any person you can talk to that's going to help you as much as just getting out and exercising.
Yeah.
But so many doctors just reach straight for the pill, and not that medicines are bad. In our practice, we're really a blend between traditional and alternative. But that is a great story. It's just phenomenal. I didn't know you had all that military background, which is also impressive to me, especially being a helicopter pilot. I love helicopters.
They're cool. It's the coolest SUV in the world.
There's no doubt about that. That is really impressive. I love the helicopter. So let's talk about Parkinson's a little bit. Mm-hmm. I know in my practice I'm seeing a lot of Parkinson's. I think it's, as far as neurologic diseases, I think it is rising faster than any other neurologic disease.
Definitely.
Even Alzheimer's, dementia. And the thing about Parkinson's that makes it so tough, in my opinion, is that it's not just you're shaking and you're having a wide stance gait and all, and you have the moon, the face and the things like that. It's a degenerative neurologic disease. So the motor movements are pretty obvious at times, but the decline in your mental abilities are incredible too. So you have almost a double whammy going on.
Definitely, yeah. And it's Parkinson's there's probably 100, 150 symptoms you can have, and everybody, the saying is, if you've met one person with Parkinson's, you've met one person with Parkinson's. Everyone has a different combination of symptoms and severity of symptoms, and when they come on and how they come on and how they affect them. So it's extremely difficult to diagnose. Some people are very, very cognitive. My dad's symptoms were very cognitive. He had really no tremor that I remember. He had the masking face, and he had a shuffle and the low voice, but it was a lot of cognitive. But it's not always cognitive. There can be 100% motor. And then teasing apart what's just age and what's Parkinson's is difficult also. So it's.
And wasn't your dad misdiagnosed in a way for a few years?
Yes, for
really
3 years they thought he had Alzheimer's. So they were treating him with Alzheimer's and seeing no results, and it's the Alzheimer's medication, and no results. And I think finally they just said, well, let's try carbidopa-levodopa, and he felt better, but that's it. So they really gave him, here's your carbidopa-levodopa, take it every three hours, and try to exercise a little more. And so he was walking the dog, another half block. But when he got wobbly, they were like, it's not worth it. Just stop. Don't do that anymore. And that was the beginning of the end. He really never got up from there, because it was fear and ignorance. I'm not saying they were mean or bad about it. It's just they didn't know. They'd never seen anybody do so much with exercise. And I've seen guys at the gym with Rocksteady recover stuff they thought was gone forever. Say, well, I'll never run, I'll never ride a bike again, I won't be able to get on the floor and play with the grandkids. They are, and they had given up. But it's one thing we don't do. We don't give up.
That is an awesome story. I love hearing this. I know for anybody that's watching this, please spread this around, because people that have Parkinson's. I mean, all of us do.
More and more. It seems like everybody knows somebody.
And this Rock Steady program is really an international program. It's not just here in Knoxville. It's in the Tri-Cities. It's everywhere,
It's
right?
everywhere, yeah. Every major city, every small city is going to have 1, 2, 3, 10 affiliates. They're in health clubs, they're in hospitals, they're in physical therapy places. Here we're standalone, part of Black Dog Fitness, but they're everywhere. They're in Iceland, they're in Scotland, they're in Nigeria, they're all over the place. So it's anywhere Parkinson's is, which is everywhere, is where we want to rock steady.
Do you think that, do you have any reason, what's your opinion on why we're seeing so much Parkinson's?
It's difficult because, and everybody wants to know, I'm almost certain they've found a predisposition, a genetic predisposition. So it can be in your genetic code, but you may not get Parkinson's. So there is a propensity for it in genetics, but there's something else that triggers it. So it could be a medication, it could be stress, it could be environmental, it could be insecticide, it could be welding, it could be the water. We really have no idea, and that's the big question.
It could be a virus, maybe.
Potentially, yeah. And there's been talk of it's a autoimmune.
Yeah.
It's inflammation, and now they're talking it's in multiple directions. That some people start feeling it first in their gut, with constipation, and then it's almost like it climbs into their brain, and then others start noticing it more cognitively, and it feels like it travels to their gut. So it's possible it's multiple.
It could even be your gut flora. Most autoimmune diseases that I deal with start in your gut.
Yes.
I mean, that's where most of your immune system is. So
yes, exactly.
Anything that's why I always start with any integrated medical patient, whether it be an autoimmune disease like Hashimoto's or low hormones or obesity. I always start with, how's your gut function doing? 99% of the time, it's terrible. So you really start there and work your way out. But I always tell my patients, all of us are like a loaded gun. the environment pulls the trigger. So there's probably some genetic predisposition there, but the environment pulls the trigger. That's why you need to eat clean, you need to exercise, you need to sweat, you need to breathe good air, do all those things. But in my opinion, there's nothing more important than exercise for any health condition. And then maybe what you eat, but
there's not many people in the world who couldn't benefit from exercise. There's a few outlier conditions and diseases that do not respond well to metabolic changes or to exercise, but for the most part, if you can move, because if you don't, you won't.
And you're going to die. Life is movement. Life is energy.
Exactly.
And, you know, when you can't move again, and that's the tragic thing with Parkinson's is they have a hard time moving most of the time. You know, there are exceptions like your dad, and the thing about the medications, you know, you can see some dramatic results from carbidopa levodopa, but the thing about it's very short acting, and then it quits working.
It has to continuously increase because it is a degenerative disease. You know, I don't know that it's been proven to become you're addicted to it. I just think it's a moving target. Yeah. You're having to constantly catch up, and it does. There's a limit to every medication, and it definitely has its own drawbacks. And the only thing that is shown that slows down the progression that you're having to keep up with carbidopa levodopa is exercise. That's it. Yep. Everything else just treats the symptoms. You're just painting over the problems, and they're still there. You're
exactly right. You know, I watched that Michael J. Fox documentary on his Parkinson's, and that's a very good show to watch if you want to really look it really is an interesting, and he's undergone brain surgery and a lot of different things, and you know, when you look at that, it didn't seem to help tremendously. Maybe it did, I don't know.
But I mean, he's been 25-30 years with it. I mean, he's done everything. If money can buy it or you can go find it, he's done it.
And he's a crusader for Parkinson's.
Definitely.
So tell me about, it's boxing, isn't it?
Yes.
Tell me about boxing. You think you're getting Parkinson's patients to box. Of course, they're not hitting themselves in the head. But if they're learning boxing techniques, tell me how that works, particularly for Parkinson's patients.
Yes. I always hear people like, so now that I have Parkinson's, you think I need to get into boxing? And it's a terrible idea. But it was sort of found by accident. The founder of Rocksteady Boxing was given kind of the same predicament of you're never going to feel any better than you do right now. And he was the Marion County prosecutor. And so he had to get out of his job, retire, and get out. And one of his buddies said, "Hey, I got a punching bag in the basement. Come on, try it." So he noticed how much better he felt. He would punch, and they would exercise and work and sweat, and he just felt better and better and better. And so he's like, I got to tell everybody. So he started Rocksteady. Scott Newman started Rocksteady, I want to say 2008. But it grew and grew because everybody was catching on. And the beauty of boxing is that it's much more technical than people. You think you watch it, it's just a blood sport. You know, they're just beating each other's face in. There is a lot more to it. There's a lot of finesse. There's a lot of style. There's a lot of rules. And it is so intense, you don't realize how hard you're working. And every muscle of your body is working. It's not just hands. It's not just arms. Not just shoulder. If you're not throwing every punch from the floor, you're not throwing it right. So you're looking at, everything from your eyelids is working, and it's fun. So you have no idea how hard you're working, really, until you can't do it anymore. It's not like you're just slogging away on a treadmill, just going, well, when is this going to end? Boxing is kind of like, I can't wait. But 3 minutes can be really, really long. A 3-minute round can last forever.
I've done a little bit of boxing and wrestling in my high school years, and 3 minutes is a eternity when you're on the wrestling mat or you're boxing somebody. It's just an eternity.
Oh, yeah.
How those guys go 15 rounds with all that hitting in the head is just incredible to me.
Exactly. There's actually coming up now, ironically, saying that brain trauma might be one of those triggers.
Look at Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali, and there are others, and the NFL. You know, people who have. I hear it all the time back in football. A lot of guys played football, but there may be one brain damage, one hit that began that cycle. So it's hard to guess. But ESPN a while ago did a survey of, I want to say about 60 sports, on how difficult they were in terms of flexibility and endurance and strength and speed and agility. And boxing was the most difficult.
I can believe that without a doubt.
That 3 minutes, that'll teach you. I mean, you'll get in there and go, I had no idea. And fishing, dead last. Sorry.
Fishing, but it's relaxing though. You need to exercise, but you do need to relax at times too.
Oh, definitely, yeah. But but that's the greatest thing about boxing. It's fun. People come in and go, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. I just don't like that. And then a week later, they are swinging hard, and they love it. Because it's not like fighting. It's not like you have an enemy. Your enemy is Parkinson's, and the exercise is boxing. So we really use it as a vehicle for fitness versus just brutality. There's a lot to it. It's pretty cool.
So you're teaching them footwork. You're teaching them how to punch and all this. And are they actually squaring off against somebody else? They're not getting hit, but tell me how it works. Are you working with the big the bags and things like that?
Yeah, the big punching bags. So we teach them the boxing.
Okay.
It's not just piddle, go slap at the bag for a while. We're teaching boxing and the actual techniques, and we're using the drills of boxing. This is not, some sitting down and pokey exercise program.
Do you use a speed bag as well?
We got a speed bag, yeah. So, and we're getting more. We got 5 of them now. So we got punching bags. That's the main one. We got the speed bags for the coordination, the hand speed and rhythm. I work with them with the mitts, the focus mitts.
Okay.
That's the most fun. I have a trainer myself, and those focus mitts are fun, but they will wear you down. So we're out with the focus mitts running around, but during class we do all sorts of other stuff. So we're playing with the battle ropes, or the ropes, or the weights and the sandbags and the dumbbells and the barbells. But every class includes some portion of boxing, just because it's so effective, and people want to. They're like, okay, can we box now? Are we done with this? Can we go box? So it's always got some component of it, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
This is so impressive to me and so new to me that I'm just blown away by this. I really am. I'm so glad that I wandered over there and looked at that, and then saw all those people coming in that had tremors and shuffling gait, and then seeing them leaving your gym with a smile on their face. And it's just phenomenal what you're doing. I'm so impressed with you. Tell me how people get in contact with you here locally or in their cities with Black Dog Fitness, or the boxing programs.
So Black Dog Fitness here in Knoxville is blackdogfitness.com, or we're out on Kingston Pike. Internationally, if you're not here in Knoxville, you can look up rocksteadyboxing.org, and there's a find a class that you can look and put in your zip code of your state, and it's going to come up with every affiliate nearby. And you'll see that it may be pushing 1,000 affiliates now. I mean, we're all over the place. First, you have to pick your country, then your state or your city or zip code, and it will show you what's nearby. But for us, I've got a YouTube channel with all this kind of stuff on it. It's tough to box on YouTube, but
What's your YouTube channel name?
It's called The Parkinson's Gym.
The Parkinson's Gym.
Yeah, that was kind of our COVID experiment, but we ended up with about 60 or 70 different workouts just for people with Parkinson's. Yeah. So that's been a lot of fun to keep up with. But there's nothing like being in a class. It's a community. People don't come just for the exercise; they come because their friends are there. And when we come in, we don't sit around and go, "Whoa, we've all got Parkinson's. It's terrible." We hardly talk about it. We just get in, we have fun, we talk to each other, we exercise, and it's all right. See you next time.
That is amazing, Zach. This has been a wonderful podcast.
Thanks,
Please
sir.
Get this out. Please get this news out, because I don't think a lot of people know about this. And they all know somebody with Parkinson's. We all do. And certainly I'm going to start putting your posters up in my offices and all your information, and Rocksteady as well. So congratulations. Thank you for what you're doing. It's such a pleasure to know you and to have you on this show. Thank you so much for coming.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. It's been great. Good to have you next door.
Thank you. I know. It's great. I'm going to go over and work my frustrations out.
Yeah, come on.
Thank you, Zach. We'll see you next week.